God of War is undoubtedly one of the most celebrated video games of all times. There's several games that has a big cultural impact. I will say those games for me, if you ask my opinion, are Mario, Sonic, Halo. I would say um, Earthworm Jim, maybe not to the same effect to everybody. It's one of my childhood favorites. So that's why I put that in there. God of War is one of those games. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was a huge fan and I played God of War. I've never owned a PlayStation. My sons have owned PlayStations, obviously. When they were younger, I bought some of those for them. I was just never a PlayStation guy. Never really appealed to me. Not that it doesn't have a bunch of dope games, because they do. But I know you cannot argue about the impact of God of War. Let's go over some God of War facts for those who may not know just how relevant and impactful this game is. It was developed by Santa Monica Studios, owned by Sony. And you know what? You don't really, I'm not going to say you don't see games like this released now, because obviously you do. But I don't know what is the next game. Like in the past, I'd say 20 years. Let's go to past 10 years. What game has been released that has that big cultural impact? I'm sure there's games out there that have been released. And I'm not talking about versions of other games, right? So I'm not talking about like a Mario game. Mario's already had its impact. A Zelda game. A new Zelda release will come out, but it's already had its impact. I'm talking about a new franchise, a new game, fresh out the gate, fresh off the block, and everybody's like, this is the game. I don't game as much as I used to. I've been out of gaming culture for a long time. I just started playing games again, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and I don't play heavily like I did when I was younger. Anyway, first God of War game came out in 2005, 4.6 million units. God of War 2, 2007, 4.24 million units. Let's see. Chains of Olympus on the PSP, 3.2 million. Ghost of Sparta, the PSP as well in 2010, 1.2 million. And you kind of see the numbers drop slightly with the PSP. It's not that people weren't fans of the PSP, and it's not that the PSP didn't sell. We had one. I'd bought one for my oldest son. It was a good console, but it just didn't have the user base, I don't think, that the PlayStation has. So, and this is where you see the numbers go back up. 2010, God of War 3, 5.2 million units. God of War Ascension, 2013, 3 million units. God of War 2018, 23 million units. God of War Ragnarok in 2022, 15 million units, for a total of 59.44 million units sold. That's nothing to shake a stick at. That's a big deal. And if you count the re-releases and remasters, 66 million plus units sold. Now, here's what's crazy. Here's what's interesting. And those of you who are older, not old, but older, you'll probably know the answer to this. What do you think is the top selling game of all time? And this doesn't shock me, and it won't shock anyone that was around for the launch of this game. It's Tetris. 520 million units sold, all versions combined. That's crazy. But if you were around when this game dropped, the frenzy was for real. The frenzy for Tetris was unlike anything I've seen since. Crazy for such a simple game, but people love it. I love that game. I still play it to this day. Okay, so before I ramble on forever, let's get into this article. God of War TV series adds Shogun and the Boys director Frederick Toye. And as I said, studios want to make money. God of War, with its cultural impact, this is going to be good both for Amazon and it's going to be good for Sony, because especially if this show does well, This is what's going to happen. Not everybody plays video games, but there are people who, when they're involved in something, they get all involved in it. There will be many people who watch this show, and if it's good, they'll go, "What? This is a game? I'm going to buy it." And now it's on PC. Oh yeah, it's a wrap. Sony has the potential to make a killing off of this. And I think the reason it was picked up is because they saw potential. God of War series just powered up with a big name behind the camera. Frederick Toye, Emmy winner for FX Shogun, known for The Boys, Fallout, Westworld, has signed on to direct the first 2 episodes of the live action adaptation based on the hit PlayStation video game. Toye joins Ronald D. Moore, Battlestar Galactica, For All Mankind, who's showrunning the series. Look, if you get anybody that has been involved for any reason with Battlestar Galactica, you're headed in a good direction. That Battlestar Galactica TV series, the reboot that was on the Sci-Fi Channel, is one of the best sci-fi series I've ever watched, and arguably the most satisfying ending to a TV series I've ever seen in my entire life. It was just good. All the way around, it was just good. Moore took over the project last fall in a creative overhaul that helped move the long gestating show into active development. So I guess it was sitting on some blocks for a while, not really doing anything before he came along. The series is now in pre-production in Vancouver, with casting officially underway. Amazon has already greenlit God of War for 2 seasons. They've greenlit it for 2 seasons. They must know, yeah, this is getting ready to generate money. And there's so many shows being filmed in Vancouver now. That's like the new place to film shows. I guess California just has lost its luster as far as, producing movies, like actually filming movies in California. I'm sure it still happens, but I just don't know how much it happens. Kratos and Atreus are the roles now being cast. God of War will follow the Norse storyline. The show will follow the pair on their journey to honor the final wish of Faye, their wife and mother, by spreading her ashes at the highest peak in the realms. As the story unfolds, Kratos tries to teach his son how to be a god, while Atreus tries to teach his father how to be human. That element right out the gate is going to work, especially for people who are unfamiliar with the series. With the video game series. God of War is co-produced by Sony Television and Amazon MGM Studios in association with PlayStation Productions. Moore's Tall Ship Productions is also involved under his overall Sony deal. Executive producers include Ronald D. Moore, Meryl Davis, Corey Barlog, Karen Shanker, Matthew Graham, Assad Oizelbash, Carter Swan, Herman Hulst, Roy Lee, and Brad Van Aragon. Co-executive producers include Joe Minowski, Mark Bernardin, Tanya Lotia, Ben McGinnis, and Jeff Ketchman. Toye is already a trusted director at Prime Video, having helmed multiple episodes of Fallout, The Boys, and The Terminalists. I didn't know that. He wrapped the opening episodes for Terminalists, Dark Wolf, and Blood Axe. His other directing credits include Lost, Watchmen, Person of Interest, American Gods, Snowpiercer, and more. This is going to turn out to be very good for Sony and very good for Amazon. I would not be surprised if sales of PlayStation get a significant bump as a result of this TV show. I definitely won't be surprised if the game starts selling more copies than it has been selling. I'm talking about some of the older titles. I would not be surprised at all. This might turn out to be a pretty dope show.